Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dimitri Johnson, and you're listening to MMALatestNews.com.
It's time to roll, baby.
Hello everyone, welcome back to MMA Latest. This is Tap Out for ahead of UFC 247, where Jon Jones defends his title against Dominick Reyes. We are here with Jonny and James, who are going to be facing off today in 3 of the toughest questions in MMA this week.
Yeah, I'm excited, Mitch. I mean, the reigning champion, I've held the belt now for quite a long period of time, won it, defended it. I think I'm the legitimate champion. I think I'm the best at this. I don't see myself getting beat anytime soon. Could
say you're the Jon Jones of this game, whereas you're the Dominick Reyes, the new generation coming in looking to take the crown off him.
Don't compare me to Dominick Reyes. Who's been your competition, James?
Well, I took on Harry Williams, I took on Kieran. And,
top class people.
Well, top class people, and I've defended the belt against very good level of opponents. So
where is the belt, by the way?
Well, the belt, Mitch is yet to order that for.
It's in transit. It's in transit.
Well, I'm living because I deserve a belt.
Yeah.
I put in a lot of work to be the champion, from being a young age, actually.
A lot of dedication.
A lot of dedication, a lot of training. You've got to put the miles in.
Anyway, UFC 247 is happening this weekend. Of course, Jon Jones is the main event of that. Is Jon Jones the greatest of all time? What's your answer?
Am I kicking this off? I'm going to say that no, he's not, Mitch.
And you
100%, absolutely, yes. How can you say he's not?
Well, I'm about to tell you over the period of a minute.
We're going to let James go first to just tell us why he isn't the greatest of all time. Minute on the clock starts now.
Look, there's no doubt, Mitch, that Jon Jones is extremely talented, but there's one word that stops him from being the greatest of all time, and you know what it is, don't you? It's steroids. Jon Jones is a cheat. It doesn't matter how much you've achieved in your career, it all becomes irrelevant when you start cheating, Mitch. The lad is fantastic, but there's so many great athletes out there, you know, the likes of George St. Pierre, Khabib Nurmagomedov, you know, so many good fighters who've achieved it the right way. It's not fair on the likes of, you know, your Michael Bispings, who became champions from hard work, dedication, commitment, to lose it all to somebody who's been taking steroids. It's not fair. I think that the one reason that you lose a victory is if you're taking steroids. That's why his victory over Daniel Cormier doesn't count. It's a no contest, Mitch, because he was cheating. It wasn't a fair fight, and I think it's fair to say that throughout the career of the man, he was taking steroids all the way through. And people could say, you know, it was like a drop in an Olympic swimming pool. Well, I think everybody knows the story in that gym in New Mexico when Jon Jones was hid under the octagon when the USADA turned up. He's been cheating throughout his entire career.
And that is the end of your 1 minute. A very good argument. That was a very good argument indeed. And now we're going to see what Jonny here has to counter when we have a minute on the clock. Now you go.
Absolute nonsense. He's going on about drugs and cheating. Look at his resume. Rashad Evans, Quinton Jackson, Shogun, Daniel Cormier twice. This guy is the most technically efficient fighter that's ever laced up a pair of gloves, even though I don't know you lace up MMA gloves. But let me tell you something. It's nothing about drug cheats. How many of those victories was he popped for? We don't know. So you're going on about drugs. It's nothing to do with drugs. Look at the resume. Look how he fights, and look at the people he's come against. No one is coming to the UFC with that. Is a bleak kick? Tell me another fighter who is so efficient at doing that. I can't name you anyone. When you watch a Jon Jones fight, you're seeing a Federer in tennis, a Messi in football. It's absolutely beautiful to see, and there's no other fighter who brings that to the table. Yes, we can go on about drugs, but he fights for the UFC, so that argument's out the window. Otherwise, don't fight for the UFC. The UFC need to sort out the legislation. Let me tell you something. This man is the best, will go down as the best, and the best of all time.
Is your minute up? I think both are very valid arguments. His resume is fantastic. Quinton Jackson, you've got Gustin on there twice, DC on there. One is a no contest, of course. And I think he probably will have the resume of one of the greatest of all times. But I do think the whole steroid era, the whole popping through it, his off-the-field antics probably take it down, whereas you've got like someone like a GSP who's got more of the friendly nature outside the octagon. He's got more of a student sort of look about him. You're someone who you want to be like. You don't really want to be like Jon Jones outside the cage. You want to be in the cage probably. And he has got fantastic sort of, you know, distance gauging. He's probably got one of the best spinning elbows. He's fantastic all round. I think 5 years from now we'll probably be looking at him as a GOAT. If he stays clean and he stays trouble-free, I think he will be the greatest of all time.
Take the drugs argument out. Tell me another reason why he's not the greatest. I want you to look me in the eye and tell me another reason that this man isn't the greatest of all time.
Well, I spent about a minute using the drugs reason as my argument. It was my main point. And if we analyse, that resume, you've got to take names off. You said he beat Daniel Cormier twice. He was on drugs for one of them. It doesn't count.
Take that off. One off. Name me the other people on the resume. So take Cormier off and look at his resume again.
Yeah, but you have to assume that if he was on it for that, he was.
You're assuming that's
career.
Probably, James. We're not. We have to go by facts. The fact is, he's not been caught for those other fights, has he?
He's tested positive 4 times.
But was it in competition or was it out competition?
One was recreational and the other 3 were in competition. It's just a fact. He tested positive 3 times.
He hasn't got the cleanest of records, has he, when it comes to drugs? So I think the first round, just slightly edging it, I'm going to go with James, just because the whole steroids era. But I think if we ask this question,
it kicks off this show, Jonny.
It does.
You've got to have a tough mental game to get through it.
I've got the boxing gloves on.
I think if we ask this question in 2 or 3 years, I think there'd be a slightly different answer, hopefully. But we're going to move on to the second question, which again is Jon Jones related. But would you rather see Jon Jones at heavyweight or against Adesanya?
Heavyweight for me.
Okay. He's nicked my answer, Mitch. I'm fuming.
He's slipped it on your ear. You got to be on.
It's all kicked off. Don't worry, I'll sweep it around.
Come on, I'm waiting. Come on, let's go.
You're up first this time, Jonny.
Right, we're going to let you go first here to put your argument forward as to why Jon Jones, or why you would rather see Jon Jones at heavyweight.
Go on.
Go on.
I want to see Jon Jones at heavyweight because he's absolutely obliterated all the competition in light heavyweight. For me to cement his legacy, he has to be a 2-weight UFC champion. There's nothing going on in the heavyweight division. This man will bring eyeballs and excitement to the division. Otherwise, where are we with the UFC? He has to be in the heavyweight division. He's a heavyweight man. He's the king of the UFC. He's the best fighter of all time. And I don't need a minute to tell you that.
Oh, 20 seconds.
Wow, that is confidence.
I'm more than happy. There's nothing you can say. Nothing you can say. That this man is the excitement of UFC. Nothing. Come on, James. I'm ready.
That is
flop.
That is the quickest sort of argument.
I don't need anything else. The man speaks for himself. I put drugs aside for me, and
drugs aside.
That's a different debate for another day. But we did talk about it last week. The lack of depth in the heavyweight division. For me, he is the man that rises the flame up. And when I watch a heavyweight fight, I want to see excitement. I don't see any excitement in that at the moment.
There's definitely some excitement in there. And there's definitely, Francis Ngannou, Anthony Rumble Johnson, in fact, if he comes back to
he's been dead 5 years. He's been
all of those potential fights that we have. But Adesanya has made a lot of noise online. They've been going back and forth. And James, it's your turn to argue as to why you want to see Francis.
Jon Jones versus Israel Adesanya.
Israel Adesanya, should I say?
Yeah, Bones versus the Stylebender. Tell me when I'm ready, Mitch.
Go ahead.
I believe that Jon Jones should fight the Stylebender for many reasons, Mitch. But first things first, let's take a look at that heavyweight division. You can't just fling Jon Jones up when there's a trilogy to be made between Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is a company man. He was a light heavyweight champion. He moved up to heavyweight, took the belt, and somebody who hasn't taken steroids. He deserves all the opportunities in the world. He beat Stipe definitively the first time round. The second time was mightily close. It was a great fight. You have to do the trilogy. Those men need to clash again. And then, as soon as they've done that, boom, let's bring in Francis Ngannou. He's the next round contender at heavyweight. 3 back-to-back first-round knockouts. He's doing extremely well. So the heavyweight division there is sorted. Competition for Jon Jones at light heavyweight. He's going to dispatch with Dominick Reyes. And then there's one fight we all want to see. Israel Adesanya, Jon Jones. And why? Because beef sells. These two men have a rivalry. They're desperate to fight each other. Stylebender's the new man on the block. He's got such a talent. He was incredible against Robert Whittaker, wasn't he? He was brilliant in that fight against Kelvin Gastelum. He's a real superstar. And these two men are people who can potentially beat each other. He struggles with the reach, Jon Jones. Gustafsson proved that. And I think Stylebender would be a more than worthy adversary for him, Mitch.
And that's the end of your minute. That is a fantastic argument. I think the heavyweight division is relying on Jon Jones at the moment in a way. Israel Adesanya, the back and forth between them, I think Adesanya is probably the biggest star at the moment. I think those two would sell more than a Stipe Miocic or a Francis Ngannou versus Jones at the moment. Those two, he's like a video game character, Israel Adesanya, and Jon Jones is almost like the final boss, you could say. And as a fan, I'd rather see that fight. I think it's hard to see Adesanya come up, but I think, he said 2021 he's going to do it. And arguably, I want to see that at MSG this year. So I'm going to say Adesanya, for a little bit of bias, I'm sorry, Jonny, Adesanya versus Jon Jones is, for me, the fight to make. So that is 2-0 to you.
Right, which means only one thing, Mitch.
You
put that hot sauce on the table.
But we have got a third and final round, which, of course, will give Jonny the opportunity to say some place.
I'm ready.
If you lose this one, you're doing a shot of that hot sauce, Jonny. Best of luck.
Does Valentina Shevchenko deserve a Nunes trilogy, should you win this weekend?
Right, okay, fine. Tell me when to
Is
go.
that yes or no?
I believe she does, yeah.
I believe she does. Okay. And you
I'm obviously certain she
You got the
doesn't.
tough argument again. So, minute goes on the clock now.
She has to fight Nunes for the third time because there's no one else in the division like Jon Jones. She has dispatched of every single contender. She's the only exciting fight I want to see Nunes fight. Yes, she's lost twice, but she's been more technically efficient. The last 3 fights you've seen, the improvements of her. This girl is a killer. Can she get past the big weight advantage on Nunes? Who knows? But I do want to see it. And you tell me a fight that Nunes, tell me any other adversary that Nunes can fight against. I can't see anyone. So for me, it's those two against each other at bantamweight for the championship. Let's see a new women's championship be crowned. That's what I want to see.
40 seconds again, taking it early there, getting all what you need out of your chest and really saying it. And now we've got James to come back. What do you think?
We set off the clock. Sorry, I didn't realise you'd set off. Right, obviously, I don't think that she deserves the trilogy. And Mitch, let's face it, they've fought twice, and Amanda Nunes has come out the victor twice. I think if somebody wins 2 fights, I don't think there's any need for a trilogy, Mitch. For me, it's done. It's best 2 out of 3, and she's already won 2. So there's absolutely no need. I think there's other fights for Amanda Nunes, and there's one that stands out for me. She's absolutely dismantled everybody in the UFC, from Ronda Rousey to Holly Holm, Germaine de Randamie twice, and of course, Valentina Shevchenko twice. Let's see her step into the world of boxing now. Claressa Shields has been going on and on and on about how she wants this fight with Nunes. Nunes wants to fight with Shields as well. They're 2 of the biggest names in female combat sports. And I think what the UFC has done better than any other sport is bring women to the forefront. No other combat sport has women on the same level as men. And Ronda Rousey was the biggest star in the UFC at one point. Amanda Nunes is becoming a star now, but she's never quite received the gratification I think that she deserves. I think this fight of Claressa Shields, who in America is an absolute star, back-to-back Olympic gold medalist, unified the division. I think those 2 together could sell some real pay-per-view buys. Amanda Nunes isn't afraid to speak her mind. Claressa Shields is a class trash talker. They could go back and forth. And Claressa Shields has also said that she'd be willing to step in the octagon. We could do 2 fights here, Mitch. 2 huge
That
fights.
is
2 big pay-per-view
the end
buys.
of your minute, I'm afraid. I think they're both very good arguments. I think Valentina Shevchenko needs a challenge. She's gone 10 rounds with Nunes now, unanimous and split decision, so she's getting closer to her. It was a very close fight the second time, and she, other than probably Macy Barber, who's now injured, she's torn her ACL, so she's out for the rest of the year. There's no one really challenging. We've got Joanne Calderwood, Molly McCann's there, repping the UK, but again, there's not really many challengers. Roxanne Modafferi now having that almost a shock win against Macy Barber at UFC 246. But the boxing is a big no for me. I don't want to see any more crossovers. We saw it in Mayweather McGregor. We've seen Canelo Alvarez and Masvidal being thrown around. We've seen now Claressa Shields. I think Claressa Shields, it'd be more interesting to see if she could step inside the octagon. I know she's been talking about doing wrestling with Jon Jones, having a bit of training there. So I think that would interest me more. Nunes is an absolute... She's the female GOAT. It's hands down. But do I want to see her go into the boxing world? I don't think so. But there is a lack of challenge for her. But I have to say, I'd rather see Shevchenko face Nunes for
I want to ask you something, James. So you brought up that you don't want to see a trilogy with Shevchenko and Nunes. Would you see Jones in DC 3 times? You called for that before.
I don't think I called for it.
I think you did.
I don't think I called for it. I said his wins don't count because of the steroid thing.
Yeah,
I don't think I actually said I wanted to see it again.
Would you want to see it again?
Would I want to see it again?
At heavyweight?
I think heavyweight gives it more of an interest because obviously...
At heavyweight,
it'd be more interesting. Obviously, DC's not got that huge weight cut. But I think after the loss to Stipe Miocic, the desire to see the trilogy sort of faded away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in regards to boxing, absolutely not in a million years. First of all, Nunes isn't a star compared to Claressa Shields. She's not a star. She's the greatest female fighter of all time. She brings no numbers to the table. Look at her pay-per-view buys, nothing, absolutely nothing. Claressa Shields would absolutely maul her. Don't want to see. It wouldn't even be competitive. It's just an absolute ridiculous matchup. It's never going to happen. I can tell you this right now. That is not going to happen. Promise you that's not going to happen.
No, I think Claressa Shields would more than win that fight.
Watch it happen.
Watch it happen now, announce. But the thing is with Amanda Nunes, I think it's a shame as well for her because, as you say, she doesn't do the pay-per-view buys, so we have to look at other options for her.
She should be a star in her own right.
Why though? Why not? What's the reason for
I don't think she's been heavily promoted by the UFC. I remember when Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes had that fight. The whole promo was about Ronda Rousey when you had the opportunity to say that Rousey was going in with this monster and they never did it.
No, but
because Rousey was a golden child. So they didn't want Rousey to lose, did they? That was the reason for that.
And unfortunately, they messed up, because if they'd have sold Nunes, then they'd have a star off the back of it.
Definitely.
She's a great fighter.
Misha Tate, Holly Holm, Nunes, Rousey.
Well, she battered the
Shevchenko twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she has the greatest resume I've seen for a female fighter. But I think we're going to wrap it up there. It is 2-1, so you just about escaped.
You survived the hot sauce.
You escaped the hot sauce, the forfeit. We are still yet to see a 3-round washout, but you're getting closer now. You took the first 2 rounds.
Could you get me a belt now, please? Because I am absolutely brilliant at this game.
In time for Tony Ferguson, he deserves a belt, so you can get your belt. Yeah. But we won't strip it if you trip over one of the wires.
Absolutely.
I can come into this injured. Don't worry. But yes, 2-1. Let us know in the comments who you want to see James take on next. I want to get Stephen House on here, so at him on Twitter. Let's see him in an argument. It's not like he gets in many arguments.
I'll take him on. I'll take anyone on.
Oh, Challenger.
I'll take anyone on.
But make sure to drop this a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.